Welcome to the Cities in Channel and our preview shows. We look forward to the visit of the Wolves. Wolves to the Etihad on Saturday, the 11th of December 2021 at 12:30pm. Well, it's not morning, is it? We're in the afternoon, but it's an early kick-off anyway. We're having a look at Wolves, of course, how they're doing. Yeah, a bit of a mix and match just recently. They did very, very well for a few weeks, but not so much now, but we'll have a chat about that. Of course, I'll try and predict our start 11, also Wolves as well. The match is being shown on BT Sports. Yes, so if you've got that, I'll be there. If any of you, as to say, hopefully my lad's back with me. He's been poorly for a little while, so it's his first game for a while. So hopefully I'll be able to get in the ground and have a couple of beers and a chat with him at the football. Be nice to do. Who's in charge? Well, Mr. Chubby Cheeks himself. Yeah, Jonathan Moss, 51 years old. I thought he was a bit older than that, actually. He's set to take charge of this game. Obviously, the last game we had, the referee changed, didn't he, because of COVID. But this is his 13th game of the season if he does take charge. 25 yellow cards and 2 red cards in the other 12 games so far. And his 2 games for City, well, they've both ended 0-0. Not very exciting. He was obviously at the game against Southampton at 0-0, and he was at the game in the Carabao Cup at 0-0 at West Ham. Obviously there was goals in that, but only with penalties. So let's hope for a little bit better result while he's in the middle this time. Mark Perry and Timothy Wood are the linos. On VAR, we have Mr. Andre Mariner, and his assistant making the coffees, Matthew Wilkes. Fourth official, I don't know what he does apart from take earache off the managers, is Martin Atkinson. Yeah, the last time at the Etihad was the 2nd of March 2021, so a few months ago. 9 months ago? Yeah, over 9 months ago now. Yeah, City 4, Wolves 1, of course. We took the lead in the first half with a Dendoncker own goal. Cody equalised on 61 minutes for Wolves, but then Jesus on 80, Mahrez on 90, and Jesus again on 93 sorted it out for us. I mean, it was a dominant first half display by City, but unfortunately we only went in 1-0 up, which wasn't great. And we were made to sort of suffer a little bit as Wolves pulled a goal back and they upped the performance just a little bit that second half. But again, for about the 70th minute, City went up the gears to win comfortably in the end. Our overall record at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers, we played them 57 times in the league, won 33, drawn 11 and lost 13, so not too bad. 138 goals scored and 82 against. Please check out my little History Boys feature. I go back to the day, 20 years ago to the day, the 11th of December 2001. Yeah, so 20 years ago today of this match. It doesn't happen often, that, when I do these little features. A nationwide Division 1 game. I think we sat 3rd and Wolves sat 2nd, but an interesting game, an interesting time for City. And it was the start of something interesting for our wonderful little mascot Moonchester as well. But please keep your eyes out. There'll be something special on that in the next few days, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. Odds to win the match. Please, I don't condone gambling when the fun stops. Stop. City are 1-6 on. Not much value there. A draw is 7-1 and a Wolves win is 18-1. So any Wolves fans out there, you want to risk 25, 50p, feel free. And check out my special odds features that go into great detail. Detail. I would say great detail on my thoughts and what I think's good value, etc., etc. Please, as I said, I don't condone gambling. As far as City concerned, of course, after the disappointment of Leipzig, we've got the return of key players for this. Surely, we can think of the 3 mentioned straight away. Obviously, you can have people like Edison to that who are actually in Leipzig, but I think the return of these key players will be tantamount to us hopefully starting another good run. I mean, that was the end of a winning run, I think, of 7 games in all competitions, but hopefully we can start another run against Wolves. I mean, the big decision for Pep is whether he's that upset with Walker that he drops him for this one. It wouldn't surprise me. You know what Pep's like when he gets let down by a player. I hope not, because Walker's has been one of our key players. He just had a pretty awful decision making in that game against Leipzig, but he has been one of our mainstays this season. So I'm hoping Walker plays and does as good a job as he's done for most of the season. But if he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised. Cancelo and Zinchenko, it won't be a total disaster. As I said, I've not said it yet, but Wolves offensively have not been great lately. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I hope Pep does stick with Walker and forgives him and perhaps hopefully Walker will learn. But we've said that before, haven't we? With Walker, he never seems to do it. But I say we have to accept these occasional red mist rising in his eyes. Sometimes it's just how it is. He's a great player. He's played really well for us this season, but that was a bit of a disappointment. Of course, the other problem, we've got Foden and Jesus, haven't we? Whether Jesus will be available for this, I'm not too sure. So when I do my little 11 in a minute, I've put in the fact that Foden and Jesus probably won't start the game because they're recovering from injury or they are injured. So interestingly enough, surely then Sterling will probably get another go, and either Grealish or Mahrez will get a go as well. I think in this, I think any of those three, because despite not really shining or doing too much, I know Sterling only came on at half time in Leipzig, but none of them really stood out as a team. With none of them, say it was only Stefan who came out of that game with anything intact really. So yeah, I think obviously his options on attacking midfield is a little bit struggling a little bit, especially if Foden isn't there as well. So be interested to see what I'll do, but I'll give you my 11 in a minute. As far as Wolves are concerned, they were bitterly disappointed not to hold out against Liverpool at the weekend. And it's hard to see them playing much differently at City. They're very defensive away from home anyway. That was obviously against Liverpool at home. They took that option as well. Klopp wasn't very happy, but hey, that's just how it is, isn't it? They had a good run in sort of October time, early November, but that seems to have faded away a little bit now. And they struggled recently. The last three away games were a 1-1 draw at Leeds. They lost 2-0 at Palace and a 0-0 draw at Norwich. So not fantastic. Norwich is only pulling up trees. And in the last three games in total, they've managed just 5 shots on target. And I think 2 of them were in the Norwich game as well. But on the positive side for them, only City, Chelsea and Liverpool have a better defensive record. I mean, this is why the manager Lage is actually doing this, because defensively they're very, very strong. So you can't blame him for doing that. Of course, one of our pains that we've suffered over recent years has been Adama, hasn't it? He seems to love playing City. Perhaps didn't do as well last season, but it is believed he wants to move away. I think he's saying that he's asked his agent if he can move away to La Liga in January. So that might be on his mind. That's not a bad thing to happen if he's not totally focused. So hopefully his mind won't be on it, and we can handle him reasonably well. As I say, in a team that's let's face it, he's only going to try and hit us on the break, and that's where he's probably at his strongest. Of course, Wolves did the double overs a couple of seasons ago, the COVID-affected season, 1920, but we got back on track last season with a couple of wins. That 4-1 we talked about, and we beat them at Molineux as well early in the season, 3-1. So 7-2 overall last season. So hopefully we'll carry on that, and they won't be the bogey team they sort of turned into for a couple of seasons. So let's go for their team. Yeah, this is a team against Liverpool. Now, the only thing I'm going to change is someone up front. There is a big thing on social media. They've got a lad called Podence, Podence, who's had a bit of COVID, and there's a lot of clamour for him to play against City because he's had COVID and he played quite well before he went off with COVID. But Hwang, that other guy, hasn't been performing too well the last 4 or 5 games. So there's a lot of clamour for him from the Wolves fans, and obviously they're all getting excited because he's obviously been on social media sort of doing I'm ready, this sort of thing. But I mean, that doesn't mean anything, is it? But I will stick him in because I say Hwang isn't doing that well. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hwang plays, and perhaps Podence might come on at some stage. So my 11 for Wolves anyway is basically the 11 against Liverpool without Hwang, and I'll stick Podence in. I'll take a chance that obviously when he says he's ready means he's had the word that he's going to play, but we'll see. In goal, Sarr. Then we've got Kilman, Cody, Sace, Semedo, Neves, Dendoncker, 8, Nuri, Adama, Jimenez and Podence. So I'll put that as my 11. If we get 8 or 9 of that, I'll be quite happy. But all those guys last week against Liverpool, as long as they're fit, I've not seen that there's any additional injuries, but they put in a very good performance and very good ratings against Liverpool. So, as I say, apart from Hwang, who's not been playing well, I don't think any of those other guys will lose the positions in the team. City 11 for this. This is what I'm going for. Obviously, Ederson's going to come back in, isn't he? Even though I say Stefan was the only one to come out of the Leipzig game with his pride intact, if you like. And I am going to go Walker. I am going to go back to what what Pep thinks is his best pairing at the back, centre-backs, Diaz and Laporte. Not surprised. Stones perhaps didn't do enough to warrant being put back in there yet. And, of course, Cancelo has got to be in there. Rodri is another shoe-in. There's no doubt about that. And, obviously, without Foden there, Gundogan's going to come into midfield with KDB, isn't he? And it's the front three that's an interesting one, isn't it? Of course, well, Bernardo, not when I say front three, obviously there'll be a mix and match there. Obviously with Gundogan, KDB, Bernardo, I mean, they could be all over Bernardo's all over the pitch anyway. But Bernardo, and then the other two, I've gone for Sterling and Mahrez. As I said, they didn't do anything exciting in Leipzig, but we are a little bit short otherwise. If Jesus is fit, I won't be happy. I'd be very happy to see Jesus in there, but I'm not too sure. So Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, KDB, Bernardo, Sterling, and Mahrez. So let's see how that goes. That's obviously, as I say, it's. Will he bring someone like Palmer in for this game like he did against that home game against Everton? I doubt it very much. Not based on what we saw in Leipzig. So let me know what you think, guys. Anyway, what you think your 11 will be for this game. Be quite interesting, as I say. Obviously, let's hope certain players who've perhaps been carrying the team to some extent. I think we saw that in Leipzig. Certain players like, even though Walker had a rubbish game, Walker, Cancelo, Rodri, Bernardo, they have been playing above themselves and been carrying some of the players in recent weeks. So I think we saw that with the absence of them in Germany midweek. Right, on to the match quirky stats. Just before we finish, City have lost just one of their last 9 home games against Wolves in all competitions. We've won 6, drawn 2. We lost, of course, in October 2019, 2-0. Among all the fixtures have been played at least 60 times in the history of the English Football League. Since it was formed in 1888, City versus Wolves has the highest goals per game ratio of 3.83. That's 437 goals in 114 metres. I don't think it'll be particularly high scoring, but say a bit more of that in my odds show if you check that out. Wolves have lost 20 of their last 23 away top-flight matches against the reigning champions. They've only won 3, but did win 2-0 at City, of course, in that 2019-20 campaign we mentioned before. Excluding penalties, Wolves are the only side that are yet to concede a set-piece goal in the Premier League this season, despite facing 39 shots from such situations. It'd be nice to put an end to that. Wolves' Adama Traore, of course, has scored more Premier League goals against City than he has against any other side. It's only 3, though. It's not exactly a bucket full, is it? Netting both goals in Wolves' only away Premier League victory against the Citizens in October 2019. Typical City. Bernardo Silva scored 6 goals in his last 8 Premier League appearances for City, 1 more than his previous 61 games in the competition, 5, and is the top scoring midfielder in the Premier League so far this term. There you go. So there's your quirky stats. Please, the review of this, the match report should be available on sometime on Saturday evening. I've got a couple of things to do when I get home from the match, etc. But please tune back in, push that notification button so you know when it's available for my little match review with the player ratings, of course, from the Manchester Evening News and my own, just to compare and have a little match report on the game. Hopefully a victory. Let's hope so. And please, as I said, don't forget to check out my other little City features on the Wolves game, the History Boys feature, and of course the Odds Show as well, if you want to have a little look at my little fancies for a flutter on this game. Anyway, thanks for watching. We're going to do this today. Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. To meet here again on the Citizen channel. Or please have a look at my film and TV channel if you get a chance. If you can go over there. Film reviews, TV drama reviews, information blogs, what's out to buy, what's on at the cinema over Christmas and stuff like that. Please check that out if you get a chance. I just want to have a break from football. Otherwise, if it's not on there, back on here on the Citizen channel. I'll welcome you back very, very soon. I only ask one thing, don't I, guys? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.